Coding Dojo is a programming school that turns beginners into developers in only 14 weeks. Over 90% of their grads land jobs within 3 months of graduating, often making over $70K per year. To learn more, visit codingdojo.com or click the link in the description below. Hey, what's going on, guys? So a lot of you know that I've been working with the React framework lately, and I'm almost done with a full stack application for my MERN course, which is MongoDB, Express, React, and Node.js. And of course, we'll be using Redux. And it should be released within 2 or 3 weeks, give or take. I am moving, so it's delayed things a little bit. But it will be a small social network. It'll be full stack. We'll be using JWT authentication. So it'll be a pretty in-depth course, probably my most in-depth. And it will be just one application because it's a good size application. But anyways, aside from that, I had a request from one of my patrons named Vita. And he said, if it's possible, could you make a short video from scratch about how to create a React app and Webpack or Parcel without using Create React App? And those of you that don't know, Create React App is a CLI where it just kind of just sets up your whole boilerplate for your React application with one command. So he goes on to say, I know that Create React App is very useful, but in my opinion, it's created a lot of things that I don't know why and how they work. I tried Googling it. Found some articles on Medium. Some are very useful, but I'm still having problems creating the app. All right, so I always like to answer my patrons and fulfill their requests if they're doable and it's something that's, not going to take me forever. So in this video, what we're going to do is create a React application from scratch. We're going to be using Webpack 4, which is the latest version. There's some changes with the config file and so on. So we're going to do that. We're going to create a script to run a dev server using Webpack dev server. It'll have hot reload. We'll also create a build script so that we can quickly build out our application for deployment. Basically all the really useful stuff that the CLI gives us, but we'll be doing it from scratch. Okay, I'll also be pushing it to GitHub so that if you want, you can use that instead of Create React App. And you can customize it and do whatever you want with it. All right, so hopefully you guys enjoy this video. Let's get started. All right, guys, so I have VS Code open here. I have a completely blank folder called React Webpack Starter. So that's what I'm going to call it, and I will push it to GitHub under that name. So I'm going to be using my VS Code integrated terminal to do everything here. And we're going to need to install quite a few things, and I'm going to go over everything that we need to install. But first thing we want to do is run npm init and create a package.json file. All right, so just go through this description. I'm just going to say boilerplate for React apps, and just enter through the rest of this. I'll put my name. You can put yours if you want. This is completely open source. We'll give it an MIT license. And that will create our package.json file. All right, so what do we want to install next? Now, React actually has 2 parts, okay? It has React, which is the main library, and then it has React DOM. Now, prior to, I believe it was 0.14, it was all included in the React library. But now that React is used in many other environments that don't include the document object model, React itself has nothing to do with browsers or the DOM and web apps. That's the job of the React DOM library, which is why we need both for a web app. Hopefully that makes sense. So let's go ahead and install both of those. So we want to install React, and we want to install React-DOM. And those will get added to our dependencies right here. All right, so I'm going to clear this out. Now, everything else that we're going to be installing is going to be a dev dependency, okay? React and React DOM, they're the only dependencies we actually need for production. So next thing we want is Webpack. Now, the reason we need Webpack is because all of our React code, our components, everything has to be compiled and bundled into one JavaScript file, and that's where Webpack comes in. That's what Webpack does. It bundles your assets together, and it doesn't have anything to do with React. You can use it with React or without. And then we also want to install a dev server to work with, And there's something called Webpack Dev Server that works really well, that includes live reload and stuff like that. So let's get those two things installed. Now these are dev dependencies, so we're going to say dash dash save dash dev, or you can do dash capital D. And then we want to install Webpack dash dev server. And then one other thing I want to install is the Webpack dash CLI, which allows you to run Webpack commands, and we're actually going to use this for our build script. All right, so let's install those things. All right, so now that those are installed, the last, I guess, bundle of things that we need to install have to do with Babel. So Babel we need because React uses ES6 classes, imports, stuff like that. So we need to transpile that code down to browser-friendly code, depending on which browser is being used. So we need Babel along with two plugins or presets. One is actually called Babel Preset React, and then the other one is called Babel Preset ENV, which takes the place of Babel Preset ES 2015, which is what we used to use. Because what the ENV preset does is it doesn't only compile ES6, but also later versions, and it can actually look at what browser is being used and then go compile whatever needs to be compiled for that browser. So it's a much more intelligent plugin or preset. Okay, we also need a loader, the Babel loader, because we need to be able to compile JSX, which is basically what React uses for templating. And then we're also going to be using something called the HTML Webpack plugin, which will generate our build HTML file. All right, so let's go ahead and get that stuff installed. So we're going to say dash dash save dash dev. And we want quite a few things here. We want Babel core, which is the core transpiler. We want Babel dash loader. We want the two presets. So that would be Babel dash preset dash env to compile ES6 and beyond. We also want Babel dash preset dash react. And finally, we want the HTML dash Webpack dash plugin. Okay, and I know it seems like a lot, but once you get this stuff installed, it's really easy. And obviously, if you clone this from the Git repository, all you have to do is run npm install, and all this stuff will get set up for you. All right, so now we have everything we need installed to set up a React application. So let's go ahead and let's see. Should we add our scripts now? Let's set up our Webpack config first. So whenever you use Webpack, you need to have a config file. Okay, so that is going to be called, it's going to be in the root, and it's going to be called Webpack, webpack.config.js. Okay. So there's a few things we need to do here. All we need to bring in is we're going to bring in the path module, which is just a core Node.js module, just to manipulate file paths and stuff like that. And then we also want to bring in that plugin that we installed, that HTML Webpack plugin. So I'm going to say HTML Webpack plugin, set that to require HTML Webpack plugin. All right, those are the only two things we need to bring in. Then we want to export. So we want to say module.export. So we're using the common JS syntax. And we want to specify an entry file. Okay, so the entry is basically our React entry file, and it's going to be inside of a source folder, because source is where we want to put all of our React stuff. And we're going to have index.js. Okay, we can actually create that now. So we'll say source, and inside here we'll create a file called index.js. Okay, so that's going to be our entry file. Next thing is we need the output. All right, so the output is where we want our compiled code to go, which is going to be just one JavaScript file. It's going to be a bundled file. So we need to specify two things, a path So for this, I'm just going to do path.join. We're going to use that path module that I brought in, and we want to join, let's say, the current directory, and then let's put it in a folder called dist, like that. All right, so what's happening is our entry file, the index.js, is going to be compiled, and this can include imported components, and basically our entire React structure will go in here, and then it'll get compiled into a file in this dist folder. Now we have to specify that file name, so we're going to say file name, and we're going to call this index_bundle.js. Oops. Bundle.js, and you can call this anything you want, really. So that's it for this part. Now we're going to put a comma under the output, and then here is where we want to specify our loader, and it's going to go inside of a module object, and then in here we want a rules object. Rules is actually an array, but in this array we want to put an object. Okay, and we're going to say test. And then this takes a regular expression. Basically, we want to look for anything that is .js, and then a money sign. So basically, it'll look at JS files and JSX files, and that's the stuff that we basically want Babel to compile. So we want to exclude. We want to make sure we exclude the node modules folder. So this takes in a regular expression, and we're just going to put a literal of node_modules. That way, nothing happens to any files inside that folder. And then we just want to say we want to use the loader of Babel loader. Okay, and that's it. Now, in order to use this HTML Webpack plugin, and again, I don't know if I clearly explained what that does, but basically it creates our index.html file for us. In fact, let me bring that up here just so you guys know what this is. Let's see, Webpack plugin. Spelled plugin wrong, that's fine. Now, this isn't necessarily just for React. If we go down here, let's see what it actually is. Plugin that simplifies creation of HTML files to serve your bundles. Okay, so we could manually create the HTML file in the dist folder, but I don't even want to have to create the dist folder. I want to just run the build command and have the dist folder be created with the index.html file. So that's why we're using this. So we already did this stuff, the entry, the output. Now we have to specify it as a plugin. Now I do want to have a template. Okay, if we just do this, it'll generate the entire HTML for us. I want to have kind of a template that we can use in case we wanted to bring in a script or something like that. And there are ways to do that without using a template. That you can see there's a lot of different options, but it's easy enough. All you have to do is just create an HTML file and include it as a template, okay, inside of an object, basically inside these options. Okay, so let's do that. I'm going to create my template inside the source, of course, so index.html. Any files that you are going to edit for your React application are going to be in here. And then all I'm going to do is put in a boilerplate. We can put in a title here. We'll just say my React app. And then the way that React works is React DOM will look for a specific element to insert all your React stuff. So we're just going to have an ID, a div with the ID of app, and that's where it's going to be inserted. Okay. Now, we don't even have to worry about including the bundle file in here inside of a script tag. The HTML plugin, the Webpack plugin, will do that for us. So this is all we need here, literally. So we'll save this. And then we'll go back to our Webpack config, and we'll go down, let's see, we want to go under this, and then just specify plugins, which is an array, and we're going to say new HTML Webpack plugin, Okay, and we could just do this and it'll create just an HTML file from scratch, but we want to use our template. So we're going to specify in here an object of options, and we just want one value of template, and we're going to specify that we want that to be in our source folder and index.html, just like that. So it'll look at that file as our template. Okay, and that's it. That's all we need for our configuration. So we can now save this file. And then one other thing I forgot to do, in order to use the presets, okay, remember we installed the env preset to compile ES6 and so on, and the React preset. We need to create a file in the root, not in the source, but in the root, called .babelrc. Okay, and all this is going to be an object where we specify presets, okay, a JSON object, and we specify presets, which is going to be an array of the presets we want to use, which is env. We don't need Babel-env or anything like that, just env and React. Oops. Okay, and it'll know to use those presets. So let's save that, and that's all we have to do to that file. Okay, so we're just about there. Now let's just add a little bit of React code. So in the index.js, what we're going to do is import React from, okay, and we're using import now because remember we're using Babel, which compiles ES6, and that's what this is. This is ES6 modules syntax, so we can use this now. So we're going to say import React from React. Let's also do import React DOM from React-DOM. All right, now we could create our app component in here, but I'm actually going to put that in a different file. So we're going to say import app from, and then we're going to have a folder called components and a component called app. All right, and then we need one more line, and that's just to call React DOM.render. And this takes in two things. It's going to take in what we want to render as the main app component, which of course is the app component we're bringing in, and then a placeholder or wherever we want it to output, which is going to be that app div. So we're going to say document.getElementById, and we want the ID of app. Okay, because if we look at our index.html, that's where we want it to output. So let's see, we'll go back to index.js and save that. And now we just need to create our components folder. And we need to create our main app.js file. Since it's a component, I give it an uppercase first letter here. And for the app component, this could be either a functional or a class component. But we're just going to do a class, so we're going to say import React and component from React. I like to put spaces here. All right, and then we'll create our class app, and that has to extends component, and we'll just put in a render. Okay, this is just regular React stuff. And we'll render a div, and we'll just say, we'll put an h1 in here, and we'll say my React app, and then we just need to export it. So export default app, and that's it. All right, so our structure is done. Now we just need to add the two scripts to the package.json. One is to run the Webpack dev server. One is to actually build it out into the dist folder. So under scripts, we can get rid of test. Let's replace it with start. So this will be to run the dev server. And it's going to be webpack-dev-server. And we're going to say we want the mode to be development. And we want to do -- open so that it opens automatically when we run the command. And we also want hot reloading, so when we save something, it auto reloads. So that's our server, and then we want to be able to build. So we'll have a command called build. And then here we're just going to use the Webpack Webpack CLI actually allows us to run Webpack. And then we just want to specify the mode is going to be production. Okay, and that's just going to basically bring everything out into our dist folder. It'll create the folder itself as well. So hopefully I did everything correctly and it should be able to work. So what I'm going to do now is just run npm start. We may have an issue, may have an error, but we'll fix it. Okay, so it looks like nothing's being displayed, so let's open up our console. Nothing was returned from render. This usually means a return statement was missing, which I think it is. And it is. You guys probably noticed that a while ago. So we have to actually return this. And let's save that. And we get compiled successfully. Let's go back, and there it is, my React app. Okay, and just to show you, if I were to, let's see. Let's snap this over. And where are we? Is this it? Yeah. So if I were to, let's close this up. If I were to change something in like app.js, let's take a, oh, this is the wrong, damn it, that's the wrong window. All right, so if I were to add an exclamation mark here and save, there it is. So we got hot reloading. We have all the important stuff that Create React App gives us. We have, except we don't have the extra junk that we don't need. So if you want to just clone this and use this to start off your applications, that's fine. Let's see. Last thing I want to show you is how we can actually build out and compile the application. So I'm going to stop the dev server with Control C, and we're going to run npm run build. And what that does is it's going to create a dist folder. It should pop up over here. So here it is. And it created our index bundle.js, which is everything. So if we create 10 components in our source, in our components, it'll all be compiled into this one file. Okay, and then if we look at the index.html, this is created because we use that HTML Webpack plugin, and basically it's just it's our template that we used, plus it inserted the script right here, which is our bundle file. So if I were to now go and just open this file up, so let's go into, let's see, React Webpack Starter, dist, and let's just open up index.html. There we go. So we could just throw this up on any web server. Okay, so I think that's going to be it, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this and it was explained clearly. Like I said, I will have the GitHub repo in the description. So if you want to use this, if you want to study it more, if you want to add on to it, maybe you want to add some extra Webpack plugins and, you know, just use it to build a React app. You can add Redux to it, whatever you want. So thanks for watching, guys. Now, if you're not subscribed to the channel and you like this type of content, please do so. If you are subscribed, please go ahead and click on the bell so that you get notifications when I release a new video, because YouTube has been having some issues with notifying people of new videos. Apparently you have to click the bell and you have to be more interactive and leave comments or like the video. So if you guys can do that, that'd be great. I'd appreciate it. But that's it. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Coding Dojo is a programming school that turns beginners into developers in only 14 weeks. If you're serious about landing a career in tech but lack the formal education or background, Coding Dojo will get you there in no time. With over 3,000 graduates to date, over 90% of their grads land jobs within 3 months of graduating, often making over $70K per year at tech firms of all sizes, from companies like Google to local startups. To learn more, visit codingdojo.com or click the link in the description below.